the paralyzed daughter was mocked, until a rancher saw her hidden strength. She was different from other children, not in the way she smiled or laughed, but in the way her body moved, or rather, the way it did not. From the moment she took her first steps, it became clear that her legs would not support her like they did for other children. Doctors explained it gently to her parents, using words that sounded foreign and heavy, but the meaning was simple. Mia would never walk on her own. For her parents, the news was heartbreaking, but their love for Mia was immediate and unshakable. They held her close, promising that they would help her live a life full of joy, no matter what obstacles came their way. As Mia grew, she learned to navigate a world that was not designed for her. School was the first place where she truly felt the weight of her difference. The other children, curious at first, soon began to notice that Mia could not run during recess, could not join the games that seemed effortless for everyone else. Their curiosity slowly turned into teasing. Words, sharp and careless, cut deeper than any fall could. "Why are you so slow?" one child would ask, laughing. "Can't you do anything right?" Another would sneer. At first, Mia did not understand why they were unkind. She would look around, hoping that perhaps a teacher would notice and stop them, but often the teasing continued quietly, unchecked. Her parents did everything they could to shield her. They enrolled her in physical therapy, bought her specialized equipment, and spent countless evenings helping her practice the small movements that would make her daily life easier. But Mia knew, deep inside, that no matter how much her parents loved her or how hard they tried, there were things she could not do. She could not run across the playground. She could not climb the jungle gym like her friends. And sometimes, when she watched the other children play freely, a heavy sadness settled over her chest. She longed to be seen, not as someone weak or fragile, but as a person with her own strengths and abilities. Despite the teasing, Mia had a quiet determination that grew stronger each day. She was observant, watching how other children solved problems and how teachers explained lessons. She learned to use her mind in ways that others often overlooked. While her body could not move as quickly as others, her mind was sharp and creative. She found ways to participate in classroom activities, using her intelligence to contribute in discussions, solve puzzles, and answer questions with confidence. In these moments, Mia felt a small spark of pride, a reminder that her value was not defined by her legs but by her heart and mind. Home became Mia's sanctuary. Her parents, though busy with work and responsibilities, always made time for her. They would sit with her after school, listening to her day, celebrating small victories, and comforting her when the teasing at school became too much to bear. Mia's mother would braid her hair gently, telling her stories of women and men who had overcome great obstacles, reminding her that strength came in many forms. Her father would take her on short walks through the park in her wheelchair, pointing out birds, clouds, and flowers, teaching her to notice beauty in every small detail. In those moments, Mia felt loved and valued, a feeling that made the challenges outside their home a little easier to face. Despite the love at home, Mia could not ignore the sting of being different. She noticed how her friends would sometimes leave her behind during games or whisper jokes when they thought she wasn't listening. She longed to be included, to be treated like everyone else, yet she also knew that the world often measured worth in ways that did not favor her. At night she would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, imagining herself running across a field, climbing trees, or playing without restrictions. These dreams were bittersweet. They made her feel the freedom she longed for, yet reminded her of the reality she faced. School projects became both a challenge and an opportunity. Mia's teachers began to notice her determination. She approached every assignment with care, often thinking of solutions that others had overlooked. She could not participate in sports or physical contests, but in reading, writing, and art, she shined. Her teachers encouraged her, praising her creativity and insight. Slowly, she began to realize that while her legs limited her physical movement, they could not limit her imagination, her intelligence, or her kindness. Mia's parents celebrated each small victory, reinforcing the idea that she was capable of achieving greatness in her own way. Mia also discovered small ways to assert her independence. She learned to maneuver her wheelchair through crowded hallways, to reach books on high shelves with clever strategies, and to complete daily tasks with patience and ingenuity. Each time she accomplished something on her own, a sense of pride blossomed inside her. It was in these moments, quiet and unassuming, that Mia began to build the foundation of resilience that would guide her through the years ahead. Yet, the world outside continued to test her. Birthday parties, playground games, and school trips were reminders of her limitations. She often watched other children laugh and run, feeling a pang of envy that was difficult to hide. Some days, she questioned why life had chosen this path for her. Why had she been born unable to walk? Why did others seem to take their abilities for granted? These questions lingered, heavy and persistent, but they also fueled her inner strength. Mia learned to push forward, to find joy in what she could do rather than despair over what she could not. Friends came and went. Some could not understand her struggles and drifted away, leaving Mia with a sense of loneliness. But there were also those rare souls who saw beyond her wheelchair, who laughed with her rather than at her, and who valued her for her humor, her kindness, and her intelligence. These friendships, though few, were treasures that Mia cherished deeply. They reminded her that acceptance and love could exist, even in a world that often judged by appearances. By the time Mia reached her early teens, she had learned to navigate the complexities of school, friendships, and her own feelings. She understood that while her body posed challenges, it did not define her worth. She began to dream of a life beyond limitations, a life where she could contribute, be recognized, and find her own unique path. These dreams were quiet at first, whispered to herself during late nights in her bedroom or while sketching ideas in a notebook. But over time, they grew louder, more insistent, pushing her to imagine a future filled not with pity or mockery, but with opportunity and purpose. Mia's story in these early years was not one of despair, but of growing resilience. Every obstacle she faced became a stepping stone, every act of teasing or exclusion a lesson in patience and inner strength. She began to understand that life would not always be easy, that people would not always understand her, but that she had the power to shape her own experiences. With her parents' unwavering support, her keen mind, and her growing sense of determination, Mia started to build a life that, though different, could still be rich, meaningful, and full of possibility. And so, even in the face of mockery, exclusion, and the daily challenges of living with paralysis, Mia's early years were a testament to quiet courage. She learned to find joy in small victories, to treasure genuine friendships, and to dream of a life where her strengths could shine, no matter how hidden they might appear. These formative years, filled with both struggle and discovery, laid the foundation for the remarkable journey that lay ahead, a journey that would one day reveal a strength so powerful that no mockery could ever diminish it. That summer, Mia's parents decided it would be good for her to spend some time at her uncle's ranch in the countryside. The ranch was far from the busy streets of the city, surrounded by wide-open fields, rolling hills, and the calm of nature. For Mia, it was a place she had never visited before, and the thought of the fresh air, the animals, and the quiet mornings filled her with both excitement and nervousness. She was curious, but also unsure of herself. Life in the city had always reminded her of her limitations, but here, in a place she had never been, perhaps things could be different. The first day at the ranch was overwhelming. There were so many new sights and sounds: the low moo of cows, the neighing of horses, the soft rustle of leaves in the wind, and the constant hum of insects in the summer heat. Mia rolled her wheelchair along the gravel path, her eyes wide with wonder. She had never seen a place so large, so full of life. The freedom of the open land made her feel lighter in spirit, even if her body could not move as freely as she wished. Her parents encouraged her to explore, reminding her to take her time and enjoy every moment. It was on that first morning that Mia met Jackson, the rancher who ran the property alongside her uncle. Jackson was a tall man with a calm presence and kind eyes that seemed to notice everything. He had worked on the ranch for many years and knew every corner, every animal, and every challenge that came with living so close to nature. When he saw Mia struggling to reach a basket of apples on a low table, he did not rush to help her. Instead, he leaned on his wooden cane and smiled. "Do it your way," he said gently, his voice warm. "I'll watch and see what you come up with." Mia blinked. Most adults would have simply picked up the basket for her, but Jackson's words were different. They were not pity, they were encouragement. Something about the way he said it made Mia feel capable, even if she was unsure how she could succeed. Slowly, she thought about the problem, feeling the texture of the gravel under her wheels, the weight of her arms, and the best angle to reach the basket. With careful movements and a bit of creativity, she managed to pull it toward herself. Jackson nodded, a small smile on his face. "Not bad at all," he said. That small moment, almost ordinary to anyone else, sparked something inside Mia. For the first time, she felt that someone truly believed in her abilities, not just despite her paralysis, but because of the unique ways she approached challenges. Jackson's respect and patience opened a door for her, a door that would lead to experiences she had never imagined possible. Over the next few days, Mia began to explore the ranch more confidently. Jackson introduced her to the animals, teaching her how to care for the chickens, feed the goats, and groom the horses. Mia had never been close to animals before, and at first she was nervous. Horses were large and powerful creatures, far bigger than her, and the idea of getting close to them made her heart race. Jackson stayed by her side, showing her how to approach them calmly, how to speak softly, and how to move with care. Slowly, Mia learned to trust her instincts and began forming small connections with the animals. One afternoon, Jackson asked her to help guide a young horse named Star through a simple obstacle course. Mia hesitated. She had never been in a situation where she needed to control such a large animal, but Jackson's calm voice reminded her, "You can do this. Take it one step at a time." With careful guidance and steady hands, Mia led Star around the obstacles. The horse responded to her gentle commands, moving smoothly along the path. When she finished, Jackson clapped once, a proud smile on his face. "See, you've got this. You just needed to believe it." It was not just the animals that challenged her. The terrain of the ranch was uneven, full of slopes, mud, and rocky paths. Rolling her wheelchair across the fields required more than physical effort. It required strategy, patience, and determination. At first, Mia struggled. Some hills were too steep, some paths too narrow. But instead of giving up, she learned to think creatively. She discovered that she could use ropes, small boards, and even the contours of the land to maneuver safely. Every small success gave her confidence. Every failure taught her something new. By the end of the first week, Mia had transformed from a cautious visitor into a determined explorer of the ranch. Jackson also introduced her to small chores that seemed impossible at first. She learned to milk a goat, carry buckets of water, and even help fix a broken fence. At first, these tasks felt daunting. Her arms ached, her hands became sore, and there were moments when she wanted to give up. But Jackson's quiet encouragement kept her going. "You'll surprise yourself," he said, and indeed, with each passing day, Mia did more than she ever thought she could. Her confidence grew with every challenge she overcame. The people who lived nearby began to notice Mia's determination. Neighbors who had come to visit the ranch were amazed to see a young girl in a wheelchair caring for animals, navigating difficult terrain, and solving problems with creativity and intelligence. Some whispered in surprise, unable to hide their admiration. Mia felt a sense of pride she had never experienced before. For the first time, her differences were not a source of mockery. They were a part of the unique perspective that allowed her to succeed where others might struggle. Mia also began to form a special bond with Jackson. He was more than a mentor. He became a friend who truly understood her potential. He never treated her with pity, never told her what she could not do. Instead, he focused on what she could achieve, encouraging her to explore, experiment, and take small risks. Jackson's belief in her abilities helped Mia to see herself differently. She realized that while her legs might not work as others, her mind, her heart, and her determination could carry her farther than she had ever imagined. The summer days passed quickly, each filled with new experiences and discoveries. Mia learned to feed a horse while balancing carefully in her wheelchair, to gather eggs from the henhouse, and even to help herd goats from one pasture to another. These tasks, which might have seemed ordinary to anyone else, became sources of empowerment for her. Every completed task strengthened her sense of capability. Every challenge overcome reinforced the idea that limitations existed only where she allowed them to. Evenings at the ranch were filled with quiet reflection. Mia would sit on the porch, watching the sun set over the fields, feeling the breeze on her face. She thought about the teasing she had endured at school, the isolation she had often felt, and the loneliness that sometimes accompanied her at home. But here, at the ranch, surrounded by nature and supported by Jackson, she began to feel a new sense of self-worth. She realized that strength was not only physical, it was mental, emotional, and sometimes even hidden until the right moment revealed it. Mia's parents noticed the change in her as well. They saw her smiling more, taking initiative, and speaking with a quiet confidence they had not seen before. The ranch had given her more than just a summer away from the city. It had given her a chance to discover her own potential. The laughter, the challenges, and the victories of those days left a lasting impression on her. Mia began to understand that her life did not have to be defined by what she could not do, but by what she could achieve with patience, creativity, and courage. One day, Jackson set up a small race for the children who had come to visit the ranch. Most participants ran on foot, but he invited Mia to take part in her own way. At first, she was hesitant, afraid of what others might think. But Jackson smiled and said, "This is your race. Do it your way." With a deep breath, Mia rolled forward, maneuvering her wheelchair through the course with strategy, care, and determination. She did not win in the traditional sense, but the pride and joy she felt were immeasurable. She had faced a challenge, overcome obstacles, and discovered a strength she had never known existed. By the end of the summer, Mia had grown in ways that went far beyond physical skill. She had learned patience, perseverance, and problem-solving. She had discovered the power of self-belief, the importance of encouragement, and the value of seeing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Most importantly, she had learned that her worth was not defined by what others thought of her, but by what she believed she could achieve. When it was time to leave the ranch, Mia felt a mixture of sadness and excitement. She was sad to leave the place that had become a haven, where she had discovered her hidden strengths and formed meaningful connections. But she was also excited to return home with a new sense of confidence, armed with the knowledge that she was capable of more than she had ever imagined. Her parents noticed the difference immediately. Mia walked, or rolled, with a newfound sense of pride, her eyes bright with determination and hope. That summer at the ranch had changed her. It had shown her that life's challenges could be met with creativity, courage, and patience. It had taught her that the opinions of others did not define her value. And perhaps most importantly, it had introduced her to someone who believed in her abilities without reservation, a mentor, a friend, and a guide who helped her uncover the strength that had always been inside her, waiting for the right moment to shine. As Mia looked back on those days and the years that followed, she realized that the ranch had not just been a summer escape, it had been a turning point. It was the place where she first understood that her hidden strengths could carry her further than anyone expected, including herself. The lessons she learned, the confidence she gained, and the bonds she formed would stay with her forever, shaping the person she was becoming and preparing her for challenges yet to come. After the summer at the ranch, Mia returned home with a new sense of confidence. The experience had opened her eyes to possibilities she had never imagined. She had discovered a strength inside herself that no one had seen before, not even her classmates at school. Yet, Mia knew that her journey was far from over. Life at home and at school still presented challenges, and she would need to continue discovering ways to navigate a world that was not always kind or understanding. Back at school, Mia felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She carried herself differently now, with a quiet pride that she had never had before. Even though her legs could not carry her like other children, her mind and heart felt lighter. She found herself approaching her classes with renewed energy, tackling assignments with determination, and volunteering for tasks she had once avoided. Teachers noticed the change, and for the first time, Mia felt that her efforts were recognized not just for completing tasks, but for her creativity, problem-solving, and insight. Her classmates, however, were slow to change. Some continued to tease, whispering comments when they thought she could not hear, but Mia had grown stronger in spirit. She no longer let their words pierce her heart as they once had. Instead, she focused on the things she could control: her actions, her efforts, and her attitude. She realized that mockery often came from a place of misunderstanding or fear, and while she could not change others immediately, she could change how she responded. This realization was empowering. She understood that true strength was not always visible. It could be quiet, patient, and persistent. Mia also began to apply what she had learned at the ranch to her everyday life. She approached obstacles creatively, using her intelligence to find solutions that others might not consider. When climbing stairs became necessary, she discovered ways to use railings, steadying movements, and support from friends to safely navigate them. When carrying books or supplies, she found techniques to balance them efficiently, making her tasks easier and giving her a sense of independence. Every small success reinforced the lesson she had learned at the ranch, that limitations existed only if she allowed them to. Outside of school, Mia began to spend more time pursuing activities that challenged her mind and her abilities. She became interested in art, using her creativity to paint scenes she had imagined during her summer at the ranch. She experimented with sketches of animals, rolling landscapes, and stories of courage she had witnessed firsthand. Art became a form of expression, a way to share her inner world with others. She noticed that when she shared her work, people responded not to her paralysis, but to the depth and skill of her creations. This further strengthened her confidence and reminded her that her value was not limited to physical abilities. Meanwhile, Mia's parents continued to support her growth. They encouraged her to participate in community activities, volunteer for local projects, and spend time with friends who appreciated her talents and character. Her father often reminded her, "Strength comes in many forms, Mia. Sometimes it is quiet, sometimes it is loud, but it always matters." Her mother emphasized patience and persistence, teaching her that every challenge was an opportunity to learn something new. With their guidance, Mia began to understand that she had tools within herself: patience, intelligence, creativity, and resilience that were more powerful than any physical skill. Mia's relationship with Jackson, the rancher, remained an important part of her life. Though she had returned home, they kept in touch through letters and phone calls. Jackson continued to encourage her to take on challenges, think creatively, and believe in herself. He reminded her that the strength she had discovered at the ranch was not temporary. It was a part of her character, waiting to be used in new ways. His words served as a constant reminder that her abilities were not defined by what she could not do, but by what she could achieve with determination and ingenuity. One particular challenge came when the school organized a science fair. Students were expected to create experiments and present their findings to the entire school. Many of Mia's classmates worked in teams, some of them handling physical tasks that required mobility. Mia, however, decided to work independently, determined to rely on her creativity and intellect. She chose a project about water filtration, inspired by the streams she had seen at the ranch. The process required careful observation, patience, and precise measurements, skills that did not rely on her legs but on her mind and persistence. As she worked on her project, Mia faced obstacles. Some materials were difficult to reach, and certain steps required strength or movement that was not easy for her. But instead of giving up, she thought creatively. She designed tools and systems that allowed her to complete the work independently. She used boards to stabilize equipment, improvised methods to reach supplies, and applied careful planning to ensure each step was completed accurately. By the time the science fair arrived, Mia had a fully functional project, ready to demonstrate to her classmates and teachers. When she presented her experiment, Mia's classmates were surprised. They had not expected someone who could not walk to handle such a complex project on her own. Her presentation was clear, detailed, and confident. She explained the process step by step, demonstrating both her understanding and her ability to overcome obstacles. Teachers praised her ingenuity, and even some of the students who had teased her began to see her in a new light. For Mia, the science fair was not just about the experiment. It was a moment to show that her abilities extended far beyond what anyone had assumed. Around the same time, Mia discovered that she had a special connection with animals, a skill she had developed at the ranch. She volunteered at a local animal shelter, helping to feed and care for cats, dogs, and other small animals. Her patience and gentle approach made her a natural with animals, who responded to her kindness and calm presence. The volunteers at the shelter were impressed by her dedication and skill. Here again, Mia realized that her value was not limited by her physical abilities. She could make a meaningful impact in ways that were often overlooked by others. Despite her successes, Mia continued to face moments of doubt and frustration. Some days, the teasing at school would return, or she would struggle with tasks that seemed simple for others. But each time, she reminded herself of what she had learned at the ranch. That strength was not only physical, and that determination, creativity, and patience could overcome obstacles. She also leaned on her parents' support, writing letters to Jackson when she needed encouragement, and reflecting on the lessons he had taught her. Over time, Mia's confidence grew steadily, and her sense of self-worth became more deeply rooted. During this period, Mia also developed friendships that were meaningful and lasting. She found peers who admired her perseverance, shared her interests, and treated her with genuine respect. These friendships were invaluable. They offered support, laughter, and companionship, reminding Mia that connection and understanding could exist even in a world that often judged by appearances. With her friends, she explored her neighborhood, played games adapted to her abilities, and shared stories and ideas. These social experiences were just as important as her academic and personal achievements, helping her to develop a sense of belonging and community. Mia also began to notice changes in herself beyond confidence and skill. She felt more independent, capable of handling challenges without constant assistance. She learned to advocate for herself, speaking up when she needed help and asserting her ideas in classrooms and group projects. The lessons from the ranch, the patience, problem-solving, and creative thinking, had become a part of her daily life. Every new experience, from school assignments to volunteering, was approached with a sense of curiosity and determination that set her apart. By the end of the school year, Mia had transformed in ways that were both visible and invisible. Her classmates had begun to recognize her abilities, her teachers admired her dedication, and Mia herself felt a growing pride in her accomplishments. The teasing had lessened, replaced by cautious respect, and Mia had learned to navigate the world with both strength and grace. She understood that her journey was ongoing, that life would continue to present challenges, but she now had tools, confidence, and belief in herself to face them. Through all of these experiences, Mia came to a profound realization. Her hidden strength was not a single moment or skill, but a combination of courage, creativity, persistence, and self-belief. It was the quiet determination to try again after failure, the patience to solve problems differently, and the willingness to see potential where others only saw limits. The lessons she learned during her summer at the ranch had not faded. They had become a foundation upon which she could build a life of achievement and purpose. As Mia looked toward the future, she felt excitement and hope. She knew that more challenges awaited, that life would not always be easy, and that there would be times when she felt discouraged or frustrated. But she also knew that she possessed a strength that could carry her through, a hidden reserve of courage and determination that could overcome obstacles, inspire others, and shape a life filled with possibility. With every step she took, every project she completed, and every connection she nurtured, Mia continued to uncover the depth of her abilities and the power of her own spirit. Mia's journey in these years was not defined by her paralysis, nor by the teasing or doubts of others. It was defined by her growth, her discovery of inner strength, and her unwavering determination to explore her potential. She learned that true courage is often quiet, that resilience is built over time, and that the most remarkable strengths are sometimes hidden until life gives them a chance to shine. By the time Mia looked back on this chapter of her life, she realized that she had taken important steps not just in her own development, but in showing others what determination, intelligence, and kindness could achieve. Her hidden strength, first noticed at the ranch and nurtured through these experiences, had become a guiding light, one that would continue to lead her toward challenges, victories, and moments of self-discovery for years to come. As Mia continued to grow, the quiet confidence she had discovered at the ranch began to show itself in more ways than ever before. Her parents noticed the change immediately. She walked or rolled through her home with a sense of purpose, spoke with clarity and calm determination, and tackled challenges without hesitation. But it was in her interactions with others outside her family where her transformation became most evident. The teasing that had once followed her like a shadow had started to fade, replaced by curiosity, admiration, and eventually respect. The first sign of this change occurred when the school announced a talent showcase. Students from all grades were encouraged to participate, sharing their abilities in front of classmates, teachers, and parents. For Mia, the thought of standing in front of an audience was daunting. She had spent years avoiding attention, worried that others would focus on her wheelchair rather than her talent. But the lessons she had learned at the ranch, courage, patience, and determination, gave her the strength to consider participating. She decided to show something she had grown passionate about, working with animals and demonstrating her understanding of their behavior and care. For weeks, Mia prepared for the showcase. She practiced explaining her approach to caring for animals, demonstrating small techniques she had learned at the ranch, and sharing stories about the lessons she had discovered while interacting with horses, goats, and chickens. She created a small setup that allowed her to demonstrate safely and clearly, showing how animals respond to calmness, patience, and gentle guidance. Every detail mattered to her, and she worked tirelessly to make her presentation both informative and engaging. When the day of the showcase arrived, Mia felt a flutter of nerves, but also an undeniable sense of excitement. She rolled onto the stage, her materials carefully arranged around her, and began her presentation. At first, the audience was silent, curious about what she would do. But as she spoke, explaining the techniques she had learned and demonstrating her careful approach with small animals, the room began to respond. Faces lit up with amazement, applause echoed through the hall, and even some of the students who had once mocked her watched with respect and wonder. Mia's confidence soared as she realized that her abilities, once overlooked or underestimated, were being recognized. She spoke with clarity, answered questions from classmates with thoughtful explanations, and even demonstrated a creative way to train a small animal using positive reinforcement. The applause at the end of her presentation was thunderous, not just because of the performance itself, but because everyone could see the courage, knowledge, and skill behind it. For Mia, it was a transformative moment. She had taken what some might have considered a limitation and turned it into a display of talent, determination, and intelligence. Word of Mia's talent and determination spread quickly through the school and into the surrounding community. Teachers praised her ingenuity and dedication, highlighting her achievements in newsletters and assemblies. Students who had once teased her began to approach her with curiosity, asking questions about her techniques, her knowledge of animals, and the summer at the ranch that had changed her. Slowly, the perception of Mia shifted, from a girl to be pitied or mocked, to someone to be admired and learned from. The change in how others saw her was deeply satisfying, but Mia also understood that it was the belief she had in herself that had made the transformation possible. Beyond the school, Mia began to explore new opportunities to challenge herself. Her parents encouraged her to volunteer at a local farm, where she could interact with larger animals and continue learning practical skills. Here, she encountered challenges that required both creativity and physical effort. Some tasks were difficult: feeding large animals, navigating uneven terrain, and managing equipment tested her patience and determination. But Mia approached each challenge with the lessons she had internalized at the ranch: observe carefully, plan thoughtfully, and act with patience. Each success, no matter how small, reinforced her confidence and sense of purpose. Mia also began mentoring younger children, teaching them the techniques she had learned and sharing her knowledge about animals and nature. She became a role model in her community, showing others that determination, creativity, and courage were as valuable as any physical ability. Watching younger children listen intently, follow her guidance, and succeed in their own tasks brought Mia a deep sense of pride. She realized that her strength was not just in what she could accomplish for herself, but in the way she could inspire and uplift others. The support of her parents and Jackson continued to play an essential role. Jackson remained a guiding presence, offering advice, encouragement, and insight. Through letters and calls, he reminded her of the strength she had discovered at the ranch, urging her to keep seeking challenges and embracing opportunities. Her parents, proud of her growth, encouraged her to continue pursuing her passions and to see every obstacle as a chance to learn. With their support, Mia felt equipped to face even the most daunting tasks. One day, a local competition for young animal caregivers was announced, bringing together participants from surrounding towns. Mia was hesitant at first. The competition involved practical challenges, problem-solving, and careful handling of animals, tasks that required skill, focus, and creativity. But she remembered Jackson's words: "Strength is found in challenges. You just need to show what you can do." With renewed determination, she entered the competition, eager to demonstrate the abilities she had worked so hard to develop. During the competition, Mia faced obstacles that tested her patience, skill, and creativity. She had to guide animals through complex tasks, solve unexpected problems, and respond calmly under pressure. At first, She worried that she might not be able to keep up with other participants, some of whom were faster or physically stronger. But Mia drew on everything she had learned: the careful observation at the ranch, the creative thinking at school, and the determination that had grown over years of challenge. Step by step, task by task, she succeeded. Her calm presence and thoughtful strategies impressed the judges, who recognized her not for what she could not do, but for what she could achieve. By the end of the competition, Mia had earned recognition and respect. She did not win every challenge, but her perseverance, ingenuity, and ability to handle difficult situations impressed everyone. The judges praised her creativity, patience, and courage, noting that she had faced tasks that many would have avoided entirely. For Mia, the true victory was not the awards or applause, but the realization that her hidden strength, the same strength Jackson had seen at the ranch, was now visible to the world. She had proven not only to others but to herself that her abilities were real, valuable, and deserving of recognition. Returning home, Mia reflected on how far she had come. The girl who had once felt invisible, teased, and underestimated now carried herself with quiet pride. She had transformed obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and doubt into determination. Every challenge she had faced, every skill she had learned, and every connection she had made had contributed to the person she was becoming, a person strong in character, resourceful in action, and confident in her own abilities. Her story began to inspire others in her community. Parents of other children with disabilities reached out, seeking advice and encouragement. Teachers asked her to share her experiences with classmates, demonstrating not just skill, but the mindset that allowed her to overcome obstacles. Mia realized that her journey was no longer only about her personal growth. It was about showing others that hidden strength, determination, and courage could make a difference in anyone's life. Even as recognition grew, Mia remained humble. She understood that strength was not about winning or being the best. It was about persistence, creativity, and self-belief. She continued to work diligently, learning from every challenge, helping others, and exploring new ways to use her abilities. Every day was an opportunity to grow, to teach, and to inspire, and Mia embraced each one with the same spirit that had first been nurtured at the ranch. By the end of this chapter in her life, Mia's transformation was undeniable. The mockery of the past seemed distant, replaced by admiration and respect. She had shown that physical limitations did not define her potential, that courage and determination could overcome obstacles, and that strength could be found in unexpected places. More importantly, Mia had discovered that true recognition comes not from the approval of others, but from the knowledge that she was capable, resilient, and unafraid to face challenges head-on. Through all these experiences, Mia's hidden strength became a guiding principle. It shaped her actions, inspired others, and gave her the confidence to pursue goals that once seemed impossible. The lessons she had learned, patience, creativity, courage, and determination, were now deeply ingrained in her character, preparing her for the challenges and adventures that would come in the next chapters of her life. Mia's journey in these years taught a powerful lesson. Strength is not always visible, and courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, persistent, and revealed only through actions and determination. The girl who had once been mocked for her paralysis had become a symbol of resilience and potential, showing that anyone, regardless of limitations, could rise above challenges, gain respect, and inspire others through the power of their hidden strength. By the time Mia entered her later teenage years, she had already experienced more growth and challenges than many people encounter in a lifetime. The lessons she had learned at the ranch, in school, and through her interactions with animals and community projects had transformed her in ways that were both visible and invisible. She had developed a confidence rooted not in the opinions of others, but in her own belief in her abilities. More than that, Mia had discovered a sense of purpose, a desire to use her strengths to make a difference in the lives of those around her. Mia's life at home had changed as well. Her parents were proud not only of her accomplishments, but of the character she had developed. They watched as she embraced challenges with courage, approached setbacks with creativity, and treated others with kindness and patience. Her father often said, "Mia, you've grown stronger than you know. Your strength isn't just in what you can do, it's in who you are." Her mother reminded her that every challenge she had faced, every obstacle she had overcome, had prepared her for the journey ahead. These words grounded Mia, giving her the confidence to explore new opportunities and face life without fear of her limitations. At school, Mia had become a source of inspiration for both students and teachers. Younger students looked up to her, curious about how she had developed the skills and confidence to succeed despite her paralysis. Mia embraced the role of mentor, taking the time to help others, encourage classmates who struggled, and demonstrate through her actions that determination and creativity could overcome obstacles. Her teachers began to rely on her not only as a student, but as a leader, someone who could help organize projects, guide group work, and inspire her peers to strive for their best. One day, the school announced a community service project, a fundraiser and awareness campaign for children with disabilities. The event aimed to highlight the abilities and potential of young people who often faced barriers in their everyday lives. Mia immediately volunteered to take a leading role. She was eager to apply her experiences, skills, and confidence to help make a difference. With the support of her parents and teachers, she began planning the project, organizing volunteers, and coordinating activities that would engage the community. Mia's vision for the project was unique. She wanted to showcase not only her abilities, but the hidden talents of others who were often underestimated. She designed interactive workshops, demonstrations, and storytelling sessions where children could display their creativity, skills, and problem-solving abilities. Mia worked tirelessly to ensure that every participant felt included, supported, and proud of their achievements. Her own experiences guided her decisions, helping her create an environment where everyone could shine regardless of limitations. When the day of the event arrived, the community gathered with curiosity and excitement. Many were familiar with Mia's story, having seen her growth at school and in local projects. As she welcomed participants and visitors, she felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. This was not just an event. It was an opportunity to show that courage, determination, and hidden strength could change perceptions and inspire others. Mia's presentation began with a simple message, that every child, no matter their challenges, had unique abilities worth celebrating. Throughout the event, Mia guided attendees through various activities. She demonstrated how to handle animals with patience and care, drawing on her ranch experiences. She led creative workshops where children could experiment with art, problem-solving, and team projects. She shared stories of perseverance, explaining how determination, creativity, and belief in oneself had helped her overcome challenges. Parents, teachers, and peers watched with admiration, many moved by her confidence, empathy, and clarity. By the end of the day, it was clear that Mia had accomplished something extraordinary. She had created a space where everyone felt valued, respected, and empowered. The event also caught the attention of the local press. Reporters came to cover Mia's story, fascinated by how a young girl with paralysis had not only overcome personal challenges, but had also inspired an entire community. Interviews and photos captured her passion, intelligence, and leadership. Articles praised her for her courage, creativity, and determination, emphasizing the lesson that true strength was often hidden until revealed through action. Mia's story spread beyond her town, touching people who faced their own challenges and showing them that limitations could be transformed into opportunities. Beyond recognition, Mia's experiences strengthened her sense of identity. She understood that her life's purpose was not simply to be admired, but to help others discover their own hidden strengths. She began volunteering more consistently, mentoring children with disabilities, leading workshops, and offering guidance to families seeking support. Each time she helped someone overcome an obstacle, a spark of pride and fulfillment grew inside her. She realized that her journey was meaningful not only because of her personal growth, but because it allowed her to impact the lives of others positively. Her bond with Jackson remained a guiding force. Though they were now separated by distance, his influence continued to shape Mia's life. His encouragement, wisdom, and belief in her abilities reminded her that strength was not defined by the physical, but by the heart and mind. She often reflected on the summer at the ranch, the lessons learned while caring for animals, and the quiet confidence she had developed. Those memories became a source of resilience whenever she faced challenges, helping her navigate both ordinary and extraordinary situations with patience and determination. Mia also began to explore new personal goals. She developed an interest in advocacy, speaking out about accessibility, inclusion, and empowerment for people with disabilities. She organized school campaigns, wrote articles for local publications, and participated in community meetings. Her voice, once hesitant and quiet, had become confident and persuasive. She spoke not only from experience, but with a deep understanding of what it meant to face barriers and overcome them. Her advocacy inspired peers, teachers, and community members alike, further amplifying her impact. Even as she embraced public recognition, Mia remained grounded. She continued to value the small victories. The first time she completed a project independently, the joy of helping a younger child learn, or the satisfaction of successfully guiding an animal through a challenge. She understood that these moments were as meaningful as awards, applause, or recognition. They represented the consistent application of patience, determination, and hidden strength, the qualities that had defined her journey from the very beginning. By the time Mia approached the end of high school, her reputation as a capable, compassionate, and determined young woman was well established. Her story inspired not only her peers, but teachers, parents, and community members who witnessed her growth and accomplishments. Yet Mia remained humble, always emphasizing that her achievements were not about being better than anyone else, but about discovering and using her own unique abilities. She often reminded others, everyone has a strength. Sometimes you just need someone to help you see it. Mia's journey also taught her resilience in the face of challenges she could not control. There were still days when she struggled, when physical limitations tested her patience, or when she encountered people who doubted her abilities. But by this point, Mia had learned to respond with confidence and creativity rather than frustration. She understood that life would always have obstacles, but she now possessed the skills and mindset to navigate them successfully. Every difficulty became an opportunity to demonstrate her hidden strength, to inspire others, and to grow personally. Perhaps most importantly, Mia's experiences shaped her understanding of true courage. She realized that bravery was not about performing extraordinary feats or seeking recognition. It was about persisting in the face of fear, approaching challenges with determination, and believing in oneself even when others doubted. Her courage was quiet, steady, and consistent, revealed not in dramatic gestures but in daily actions, thoughtful problem-solving, and unwavering commitment to personal growth. As Mia looked toward the future, she felt a sense of hope and possibility. She dreamed of continuing her education, pursuing work that allowed her to help others, and exploring new opportunities to demonstrate and develop her abilities. She knew that life would continue to present challenges, but she also knew that she had a hidden strength capable of carrying her through anything. The confidence she had cultivated over years of struggle, growth, and mentorship had become a foundation for a life filled with purpose, impact, and fulfillment. Reflecting on her journey, Mia understood the profound lessons she had learned. Life had not been easy, and she had faced moments of isolation, teasing, and doubt. Yet each of these experiences had shaped her into a person who was strong, resourceful, and compassionate. She had discovered that hidden strength is often revealed through persistence, creativity, and belief in oneself. She had learned that respect and recognition are earned through action, not appearance. And she had realized that true impact comes from helping others see their own potential, just as Jackson had helped her see hers. Mia's story, once defined by mockery and limitation, had become a story of courage, determination, and inspiration. She had transformed obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and doubt into confidence. Her journey showed that strength is not always obvious, and that the most remarkable abilities are often those that remain hidden until they are discovered, nurtured, and applied. Through her actions, she had not only changed her own life, but had also touched the lives of countless others, leaving a legacy of hope, resilience, and empowerment. By the end of this chapter, Mia understood that her life was not defined by what she could not do, but by what she chose to do with the abilities she had. The girl who had once been mocked for her paralysis had grown into a young woman who inspired, led, and uplifted others through the power of her hidden strength. Her journey was a testament to the idea that courage, creativity, patience, and determination can overcome even the most formidable obstacles, and that anyone, regardless of limitations, has the ability to achieve greatness and make a difference in the world.